What's going on? I'm here with Ridgely Goldsborough on the Marketing Stacks podcast. And yeah, Ridgely, why don't you kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and what you have done?
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, Luke. I'm excited to be here. As Luke mentioned, my name is Ridgely, and I did not pick that name. It got stuck on me, whether I liked it or not, by my grandfather, Doc Ridgely, who walked in the hospital room, held me in the palm of his hand. And after I'd been named Nicholas Goldsborough by my dad and mom, he said, no, he'll be called Ridgely. And nobody was going to argue with him because he was the big boss of the house. That set me on the journey of independence. I've had one job for 30 days, quit, didn't like that at all. Ever since then, building companies as a serial entrepreneur, what I do, I love particularly all things to do with communication. It's been the main focus. Written 19 books so far, working on number 20 right now using AI. We're going to write it next Saturday in one day. And having fun, man. Having fun. Just loving to be invited to your podcast and then see what we can do.
Awesome. I love it. And I know you were telling me before a little bit about limbic messaging, which is sort of one of the big things that you focus on. And yeah, I'm curious if you can kind of explain the way you did to me what limbic messaging is and how people can use it and why it's so important.
Well, so here's what's so cool about limbic messaging. It's based in brain biology, not psychology. So it's not a fad. It's not a thing. It's biology. And the thing about biology, Luke, is it always works. If you're hungry, you want to eat. If you're freezing, you want to warm up. Not sometimes, not most of the time, every single time. So if we understand biology of the brain, we can get more decisions made in our favor. So as we talked about, if you look at a cross section of the brain from above, you're able to take a look inside. What you'd see is that all around the perimeter of the brain, you have the neocortex, which most people call the thinking brain. It's in charge of things like logic, data, features, benefits, information, speech, words, language. The fact that we understand each other right now is because of the neocortex or thinking brain. The challenge is that the neocortex doesn't make decisions. We make decisions in the limbic or emotional brain, which is physically located at the heart of the brain. We make decisions based on a feeling, and then we justify the decisions based in logic. Have you ever had this experience, Luke? All the data, all the information points to taking this decision, taking this action at this moment, and at the very last second, you go, whoa, 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 that doesn't feel right. That's your
100%.
limbic brain kicking in, saying, no, 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 no. So what's the challenge? Most people, when they're talking about what they offer, they talk about features and benefits and all that because they only understand the workings of the neocortex. Let me give you an example. Here's a water. So what does the marketing for most water sound like? At ABC Water, we have the purest water from the deepest stream with all the antioxidant and vitamins you need to hydrate your body, even after a long workout. Want to buy some? Nobody cares because it doesn't distinguish this water from any other water on the shelf. Note this with limbic messaging. At our water, we believe that the body is a temple and only the finest ingredients should ever be put into it. We have the purest water from the deepest stream with all the antioxidants you need to hydrate your body after a long workout. Want to join the cause? You don't hear the difference. You feel the difference. Now, not everybody's going to want our water, but those people who believe that the body is a temple are going to want the water, ask for their water, advocate for the water, and get mad at the manager if he doesn't have it. So if we could figure out and understand how to use limbic messaging in our communication, we're going to get way more decisions made in our favor, including the very important decision of any business owner, which is the decision to buy your product or your service. So for me, it's been now 20 years of working on really refining the creation of limbic messaging so you can express who you are, what you believe, what you stand for, and get many more people to raise their hand in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And that's definitely a major copywriting staple is focusing on, emotions versus logic. But I think breaking it down to the actual biology is very, very interesting. And you showed me a little bit earlier some examples of limbic messaging that you've done with other businesses. And I think it'd be really cool to kind of highlight those to make it more tangible so people can see like what are the actual phrases or some examples of what limbic messaging looks like.
Sure. Here, let's take a look. So here, if you look at that, this is about LED lighting. But what they're talking about on their website is what they stand for. So this is a company that sells LED lighting out of China. We believe in getting it done right the first time, every time. Now, that's cool. Somebody go, oh yeah, I believe in that too. We believe your success should be rewarded. You're right. My success should be rewarded. That's a very good point. So you're getting people to nod their head. Yes, we believe that together we can go further. Nice rocket going up into the moon. I kind of like that one a lot. You get somebody that we believe trust is earned. If you believe trust is earned, you share that common belief. A bond is created. You work in the direction of trust. And obviously, it ends up being that somebody's more predisposed to want to make decisions in your favor, including using your products or services. And it doesn't matter what industry it is. It can be a dentist. Here's a dentist office. I'll go to the homepage. What do you first thing you see? We believe in a smile that gets you compliments. They have all kinds of services here. No matter where you go, you're going to see the same thing. First, a limbic message. We believe in crisp apples and juicy steaks. That's for the implant section. Well, people who don't have implants can't eat a crispy apple. They can't eat a juicy steak. They see that. They're like, oh, man, it's been so long since I had a juicy steak. Give me an implant, right? So that you can evoke a feeling in someone that literally is not anything more than an invitation into a belief. You invite them into a belief. We believe in your smile being the right kind of distraction. And you get somebody to nod their head in your favor, to take a step in your direction by using limbic messaging. Obviously, if you're in copywriting, it's huge. It's huge. It's that thing that gets people to do this, which you want them to do, all the way to the offer.
No, absolutely. And that reminds me of older copywriter Joseph Sugarman, and he talks about that. That's one of his principles, is getting the yes. Because once you get the head nodding and you get that momentum, it creates a feeling of, it builds that rapport. And the more you get the head nodding, then the easier it is to get them all the way to the sale. And I want to kind of shift and ask you, because you mentioned AI a little bit earlier, and ask you, what are you using AI for? And specifically, what tools and use cases have you found most effective for your business or anything that you do?
So obviously, you have to start with a certain base of knowledge. I'm not a person who believes that someone who doesn't know a lot is going to be made smart by AI. But what I do believe is that AI makes smart people smarter and way faster. So we use ChatGPT 4 primarily. I use it a lot. I mean, I know a lot of people say they prefer Jasper if they're in copywriting, and there's debate about that. Where I'm using it is we create basic limbic messaging, and there are generally 4 formats, and I write prompts to use these formats. We believe messages, you deserve messages, you deserve to be heard. Because something matters message, because your success matters, because the environment matters, because being in a green world matters, whatever. And we picture a world where we picture a world where children have access to food and healthcare everywhere, whatever. Put those into the machine in the context of something specific, like a dental office or a digital marketing product or a coaching program or whatever it is, and have AI help extract the messaging that we can then use. We also then use AI to rank the messages, to go out and look online and see, okay, look into the AI database, which one do we think are going to have the greatest appeal? Where should we put those? What pages should they go on? Of course, if you're looking at a website, for example, and then fine tune it a little bit. And through the iterative process, we're able to come up with some really great content. What used to take me a couple of days now just takes a couple hours.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I like what you said about, it doesn't make somebody who's not skilled or not smarter, but it really does empower. Once you do have skills and you do have, some sort of natural intelligence, of course, it really does empower you to do a lot more, a lot faster, and oftentimes a lot better. I'm curious if you have any, what's the most interesting use case that you found with AI? And the more niche and personal, the better. And to give you an example, I shared this on another one, is like, I love poetry. So one thing I did is I took a really obscure, complex poem, popped it into ChatGPT and said, hey, rewrite this for me word for word using synonyms. And it took the poem and it analyzed it. It gave me an analysis of what it means. And then it gave me almost like a synonym poem that actually opened up the original poem to me in a different way, because I got to understand the nuances of certain words and why the author might have used those words versus other ones. So it's like a very niche prompt, something I doubt that anyone has really done before because it's such an obscure poet. But I'm curious if you have any sort of use case that's like that to you, that's maybe a little more personal or just something that's fascinating to you.
So my partner is a super geek. He's even geekier than me. We call ourselves geeks, so we're proud of it, right? Proud geeks over here. And he went and found and refined a prompt that generates prompts, that rates itself, grades itself, and tells you how to improve it. So instead of writing a prompt and sending it out there, we're writing a prompt to write a prompt that's going to tap into the knowledge that's in the AI database, basically all of the internet. I found that so fascinating that I've been really working with this situation. So you write an initial prompt, it's going to give you a rating 6. Here's how you can improve this prompt. We improve the prompt. Now you're at 7. Do it again. Now you're at 8. Now you're at 9. Now you're at 9.5. Okay, I'm at 9.5, almost perfect. Now I run the prompt. AI is already fully educated as to whatever the topic is at hand. So tomorrow, for example, I'm doing a presentation, and in that presentation, I'm going to take a business that I have never been involved in any way, shape, or form, know absolutely nothing about, it's going to be called Pretty Paws. It's a cat and dog wellness spa. All I have so far is the name and the idea and my prompts. And in 15 minutes or less, I'm going to write a website, a long page sales letter, a full email follow-up sequence, and social media posts for this business that I know absolutely nothing about, have never been involved in, and do it all in real time in 15 minutes as a demo as to how fast it can be if you can teach AI first what you're looking for before you ask it for what you're looking for. It's a much more sophisticated way of getting the output that you want. So not exactly personal, but I'm just so fascinated by it because it makes you seem like you're a genius. And if you've got the prompts, you can do it. So this is the fun part. Now we're having fun, right? If you've got the prompts ready, you can do it so fast that somebody can't follow what you're doing other than to sit there mesmerized, like,
Yeah.
how are they
Like
doing
magic, right?
That's insane. And that part to me is super fun. So I'm working on refining that art of educating AI as to what I truly need before I ask it for what I need.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, the more that you can move up the hierarchy, I think, in terms of the way that the prompts work, I think the more interesting use cases you can find. So, for instance, a prompt is obviously the most obvious use case. Do a prompt to write an email. But what about a prompt that will then create a prompt that will write an email? Or what about a prompt that will create a prompt and judge a prompt and tell you ways to improve it, right? Because these are all sorts of things that natural human intelligence can do. So I really like to kind of step back and say, observe my own thoughts and observe everything I'm doing and ask myself, is this something that AI can do, right? Is this something that, and 9 times out of 10, maybe almost 10 times out of 10, it is something. Now, whether it's useful or, faster to do it on your own or to use an AI tool, that's up for debate. But I really think you find more interesting use cases the more you move up that stack. And for an example, in copy, it's like, yeah, we can use AI to write an email, but what about using AI to copy chief what you're doing, right? Or what about, using AI to create an offer and then judge that offer and then tell you the amount of resource in terms of time and money you're going to have to do with that and then use that to make a decision. And that's really how things like agent GPT or all of these agents work. And so I think the more you can think like that, the more use that you'll get out of the tool.
I agree. Totally.
I think that was a really great point. And I guess, the other question I have is, let's say someone wants to use AI more in their marketing, more in their business. What is, the one thing or the one tool or the one piece of advice that you would give to them on how to start using AI in their marketing, in their messaging, in their business?
I would say listen to this podcast and come back and listen to the guests who share their thing. Because as smart as AI is, being in a community of AI collaborators where everybody's sharing, like I loved your idea of the poem. I thought that was fantastic and made me think like, man, I'm really not doing stuff that's as cool as Luke is doing. That sounded really really nice. But getting around my biggest piece of advice is don't try to do this all by yourself. Hang out with really smart people, find out what they're doing. Oh, that's a great idea. I can do that. Oh, that's a new way of thinking about this. I can do that too. And then experiment. But I think the biggest thing is not a specific tool, but a mindset. Hey, man, we are all together smarter than anybody is by themselves. And the more you can surround yourself by the people who are doing what you want to be doing, you're going to get better at it yourself. And this is a huge blue ocean. It's still wide open. You know, I get on the phone with people and show them a couple of little things and their minds are completely fried. Well, why not become a mind fryer among mind fryers?
Nice. It's a great that's a great quote synopsis for this one. Become a mind fryers amongst mind fryers. I agree, and that's actually kind of how we started our conversation too. Is just collaboration, making connections and networking. I think, you know, at least in my experience, the more you get away from I have to do everything myself to, you know, I have everything, I have to create everything myself or create the teams, the more you get into a mindset of how do I collaborate with other people and how do I create win-win scenarios? I think, you know, forget AI, I'm just talking about business or just being a good human. It's such a powerful mindset. And I really think it's undervalued and underappreciated. So I think that's a great thing. And I guess, you know, my last question is, you know, what would you like to share with our audience, or where can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
Well, late bloomer, but I just recently, for the last number of many years, have been interviewing CEOs about the principles of success. And finally, I got busy and started a YouTube channel where we're sharing these basically lessons from the CEO.
Awesome.
So people like Stefan Georgi are on there, and many others telling about principles of success that they have. It's brand new, just been out literally a couple months. But if you'd like to learn from really smart people and feed your brain principles of success from proven entities who have been there, most of them millionaires, many of them billionaires, then check out the YouTube channel, Ridgely Goldsborough, and grab those lessons from the CEO, man. It is super powerful. And my feeling, Luke, is that we need to hear those principles many times before they sink. So maybe Luke shares something and I get it, but some other people don't get it, but they hear Ridgely and they get it, and vice versa, and whatever. So the more we can immerse ourselves with successful people and the way that they think, the more that's going to rub off. And I think that people get a lot of benefit out of that. And everybody likes to watch videos.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And we'll put the link to the YouTube channel kind of in the description wherever this ends up being hosted. And I just want to say, Ridgely, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Pleasure. Look forward to doing it again in the future whenever you need me.
Awesome.
Thanks.